And hello, all my Blake Media listeners and Facebook listeners and everybody out LinkedIn, all y'all guys out there. Hey, welcome to the broadcast this morning. This is Dr. Joe Blake here with the Actionable Financial Literacy Center, and always great information to share for you today. And I'm always happy to share. So today, real brief, I'm going to give you some information that's going to incite you a little bit about the exchange rate that's out there. And you know what? I had some. Oh, I got currency right here. No problem. I got some currency right here. Let me grab it real quick. Talk about exchange rate and the importance of it. The subject I was sharing with some other folks early in the week. So let's bring up our keynote here so we can get things going for you a little bit. There we go. Exchange rates and how beneficial they are. And they're really exchange rates are really beneficial when you're looking at it, especially when you're like traveling and understanding about global finance and things of that nature. You got to get an understanding how it work. The beneficial parts of it, especially if you're going to do some investing overseas as well. You want to understand global exchange rates as well because it's important. You say, okay, Joe, well, man, how do you know why I need to know this stuff? Well, here we go. Here we go. All right. I'm going to start off first. Always, this is our new book comes out January projected January, Building Financial Legacy. So we're talking about legacy now. We're from literacy to legacy. How do we get from literacy to legacy? Instead of knowledge, we're going to be talking about building wisdom at that stage. And I'll change that to wisdom so you see that there. We're still going from wisdom to behaviors, changing those behaviors. Action steps in the middle there. We're looking at those action steps. There we're looking at correcting and detecting the errors in our thinking. We still have the behavior model there. The behavior model, we're taking the shopping cart, going through each stage of the action model, and looking at we're changing the economic action, looking at the financial effect, looking at if there's anything monetarily flawed, anything unrealistic, thinking we'll become a millionaire tomorrow night. Wealth is systematically accumulated over time. The lottery is fantasy. Wealth is accumulated systematically over time. And creating that legacy is saying, okay, once that wealth is accumulated for the next generation to the next. All right. And understanding the principles that I'll be sharing over the next year, the end of this year, next year, is going to help us understand that. Now, different terms when you're looking at currency. You got to understand the currency, where the country is coming from. You got to understand the amount you're looking at, and then also the currency that you're going to, the country that you're going to. So where it's from, the rate that you're looking at, and then the country that you're going to. So we're not going to finish this today. It's going to take some time to go through the whole process, but you got to start with blocks of time, blocks of understanding, so we can get the whole process to get it through. So here's some things here. One, when you look at an exchange rate, it's which one currency is versus another. So here we have some examples of, this is a Saudi dollar. No, this is Iraqi dollar. It's Iraqi dollar and a British pound. So it's one currency rate for another. All right. So you can look at the Iraqi dollar, then you got the American dollar. So you look at the exchange rate from $1 to another. And you see that two different currency rates. So what makes money? The society determines what money is. Because you can't take this British pound and go to Saudi and use it there, because they won't accept it. Because Iraq. You won't be able to use it there because Iraq's not going to accept a British pound. You can't take the British pound and bring it over here to America to use it, because we're not going to accept the British pound because we accept American dollars. And that's where you get the conversion rate that goes on. And one currency pair is based on the currency and other currency quote rates. So those rates, you have to figure out how to transfer. Okay, how much is this British pound worth versus the U.S. dollar? So you may see it uh, speculated as like see that euro and so 1.2 $1.20 means the euro equals $1.20. That means it may take a dollar to equal it may take $1.20 to equal 1 euro. So why is it that way? Why does it take a dollar and 20 cents to equals 1 euro dollar? Or when I was in England and back in the late 80s, you just take $2 to equal 1 British pound. So you just take $2 equals 1 British pound. So if you go to Britain, you see a Big Mac that costs $5. I mean that $5 Big Mac was $10. Now I don't know what it is now. We're talking like 20, 30 years later. So if you go there and you see that Big Mac now is worth, say it's worth £10. I mean that's down that same no, let's say yeah, that £10. That £10 Big Mac is worth $20. So you plan on paying $20 just for that Big Mac? Uh, Maybe not. So you got that's the exchange rate, and you're like, man, why? Who's doing that? Why y'all doing that? When who says that their money is worth more than my money? Yeah, but that's how it is. I mean, and then you got other guy. Here's a Saudi dollar. Here's a euro right here. So that euro right there, and that one right there. They don't make these anymore. That's a food stamp. That's value that's created by us, the United States. Way back in the day, they don't even have these anymore. Not even, but that was considered money back then. Created by who? Us for us. All right, let's go to the next slide. All right, so interest rates. The higher the interest rate tends to be to attract a foreign currency, uh, the higher the value of the dollar, the higher the value. So in some countries, like the American dollar isn't worth much, but the British pound is worth more. So what affects that? Supply and demand. So when inflation is low, it usually leads to a higher amount for that currency. So inflation rates in the United States is kind of low now. So that means if we try to buy something overseas, it's going to cost a little bit more for us, and then vice versa. If the dollar amount for the pound is greater, that means somebody in Great Britain come over here and buy things for a little cheaper for them. Yeah, because that's the way the world evaluates and how money is. And sometimes you can look at it and say, "Oh my goodness, man, why do I want to go to Britain or when the dollar is not this strong?" Well, there's some country where it's the opposite. That rate is different, and normally it's this the economic stability and the performance. If a strong economy that tells whether or not the currency is strong or weak, and society builds that. A lot of that deals with the economic engine of that company. I mean, of that country. A lot of the political landscape of that country, whether that it's a stable or if there's a lot of a lot of wars and things going on in that country a lot. Whether that the country is stable enough to be on the world market. Um, like the dollar and countries like Thailand, $1 if you convert $100, you get 3,000 baht. That's the Thai dollar. Well, that 3,000 baht can get you quite a bit in Thailand, and it depends on the product that you're searching for. But unless you go there, you don't really see it. You see the exchange and everything, but sometimes you don't actually when you travel to those places, travel to those locations, you don't see the value until you experience the value. You may hear us say, "Hey, Dad, the exchange rate is this, that, and the other." But when you experience the value change, man, do you get it? Man, do you understand it? And so, what I'm sharing with you is that understand this part right here. So, the next time you go on your trip, you really get it, and you can come back with the more knowledge and information that you can share to others. And then also you have come back with some good stuff. I got some things I came back with. Ooh, that was kind of cool. But you'll be able to do that. So that's important. But again, but when the political structure of the country isn't strong enough, isn't stable enough, that can make that the value of that financial economy or financial market weak as well. Like you got a lot of corruption in the country. You got a lot of uh, political turmoil in the country. That make the economic standards or the economic, su- you know, success for for their company for that country not well, and it just destroys the value and destroy the investor confidence in that area, so that that country doesn't do very well, and there it's not strong. Next time we'll have some more dollars, and I'll show you. We'll look at some actual dollar amounts for their dollar and then the exchange rate. All right. So then I looked at I downloaded a research article on global portfolios and exchange rates, and this was from these actually came from Britain. This article here came from Britain, uh, came from the University of London, came from the uh, University of Geneva in Switzerland, and also from London Business School. And these are the three authors for this particular author here. And what they were doing was wanted to understand the links between exchange rates and capital business, and it's a long-standing issue on international economics. Well, we know that the world is coming closer together mainly because of uh, the digital economics. I mean, the way the internet is making us come closer together, being purchased and things like that. I know some of us have been online where you have a lot of places where you can buy things on Facebook now, $3, $5. Hey man, why is it so cheap? It's not that it's cheap. It's just exchange rate is very affordable. Is very um, it's acceptable for us, and it's great benefit for them. Person is selling those things. So this article talked about a few things. One of the things it mainly discussed is let's see here. Um, and when it's talking, and this was talking about portfolio rebalancing, but they found that exchange rates follow the financial flows uh, induced by transferring of goods. So goods and services that went from in the country, out of a country, that people buy and sell, that induced the change in the exchange rate. So what we buy and sell influences that. So that's why it's important the countries get along with one another. That's why companies get along with one another, because what people buy and sell from one another makes a big difference. So it's important that we have international trade. It's important that we have trade within countries and with other countries, because that trade makes it better for everyone. And if you don't, if one country doesn't like what another country does or says, then that's one thing. But if you're looking at it from a profitability standpoint, for economic standpoint, for the people in in the country as a whole, it means more to be agreeable with one another. So the exchange and the flow of induce of trade makes a big difference on the exchange rate. The other thing that influences the exchange rate, um, is the supply and demand and the elasticity of the demand. Elasticity is if there's enough there, if there's not enough there for that product, and if it's not enough, it kind of raises the prices of it. If it's more too much there, then it lowers it. So there's a balance that has to be there. And if the balance is lesser or more. I mean, if there's a balance, if there's a flood of marketed products, then it's not going to do very well. But if there's scarcity in the market, um, that's not going to be as beneficial either. Scarcity could run jack a price up to astronomical amounts, and no one wants to buy. Only the very elite buys, and then that's going to be not be beneficial for those that don't have that elite price. So those things that have to be really looked at when you're dealing with the international trade and exchange rates and things of that nature. That's why oil is such an issue. Commodities like that can be such an issue. It's like a balancing act. So what does it mean for the individual? Us, I'm saying us because I'm still rolling. I'm still working my way to that multi-gazillionaire status. What does that mean for us? What we need to understand is that, hey, What does it mean when I go to this next? I take my next trip overseas, and I want to make a partnership with another make a partnership with a company over there. How can I benefit and that company benefit by partnering with me? What products or services they have that I can have benefit with my company? And sometimes it takes a few trips going overseas back and forth to make that connection with someone or another organization that can benefit you and them, and how that connection works. So understanding those things helps us, and understanding the exchange rate where you get value, they get value, and everyone wins helps the organization grow as a whole. So with that, always I mentioned here about seed time and harvest. When you use to build your portfolio, you plant your seed, give it time, so you reap the harvest. That's the big thing. Again, here's the model. Knowledge comes in. You want to change your behaviors. There's the action model in the middle, and then that's the shopping cart and go within each stage of the action model itself. And there are ways to get a hold of me there. Got my Facebook, got my business website, got my Calendly book there as well. Follow one course until successful. It's my motto. And that was the, go back here. That was the resource title that the text is. And we're going to continue using that text on the next cycle. Global portfolio rebalancing exchange rates. So download the app, Actionable Financial Literacy. We're going to have that model together. We'll be having different broadcasts only on the app. And I just gave you a little touch of this subject. I didn't give it all to you. I can't give it all to you in just 20 minutes or less. So uh, that's what we offer today. So again, this has been Dr. Joe Blake with the Actionable Financial Literacy Center. And I hope we help you get your point across. And we'll see you again next week.